Five wisdoms of Buddha. So we each have habits that influence our way of seeing and being in the world. Blind spots and unresolved emotions can lead us to cause harm to ourselves and others. Gaining awareness of this process, we can transmute these energies to foster healing in ourselves and in our world. So what is our objective? To engage deeply with our own habitual tendencies and reveal the recurring themes. To recognize our own solid version of the world. Perception is very much individualized and centralized on self-consciousness. And to learn to experience our thought processes and emotions as transparent, taking place in the midst of nowhere in space. So if our thoughts are clouding and we're totally caught up and swept away in our thoughts, then we feed that with emotions. And the more we think about something, the more energy we feed to it, the more we get swept away. So right now, you are in space, wherever you are in the midst of space. If you're not being taken away with your thought processes. So pay attention now to the space that you are in. Just open space. That space is the positive space of skillful means, working with everyday life situations. It can only be seen through the experiencing of the space rather than the product by becoming one with the emotions. In other words, as long as I am here in this space, my awareness is right here, right now. Anything that happens in this space, I will respond to based on the wisdom and the skillful means that I have. This is when you get off of the cushion or the chair, wherever you're doing your formal meditation practice, and you are now in the world doing whatever you are doing. As long as you are in this open space of awareness, the most skillful wisdom that you have to apply to any situation that arises as part of your life situation. That's how you practice when you are not doing formal meditation practice. If you get caught in your thoughts, oh, let me see, what are we going to do the next week? I'm not sure. Gee, I have to think about that. You are now into your thoughts. Your cognition of the space that you are in is now gone. So the ability to allow thoughts to arise and to dissolve, that's the formal practice. And right now, the practice is also when you are in your actual life situation that you can allow whatever thought arises, not feed it any energy, not go with the thoughts, from the open awareness of right here, right now. This is the only place that something can happen, right here, right now. We need to talk about the development of ego. So ego is formed in Buddhism, what they call the five skandhas. Skandha refers to a heap. So it's not that ego is like one solid entity. It's like it's a combination of things that are built one on top of the other. There are five skandhas for the creation of ego. The first one is form. So the beginning point is open space. We are this space. We are one with it, with intelligence and openness. The birth of ignorance, when we become too active and self-conscious, I am dancing in space. You are no longer completely one with the space. Let's say that you're doing a dance. Now, I don't know about modern dances where one person is by themselves, just kind of doing their thing, but let's pretend we're doing a waltz. So you are there totally one with your partner. Paying attention, you're fun with the movement so that you can follow properly. And there's nothing inhibiting you. And up, all of a sudden, you step on someone's foot. Oh, I stepped on that foot. You are no longer in the space. Now you are into the I. You feel unbalanced, a little awkward. So the second type of ignorance, ignorance born within, one has identified oneself as separate from the basic landscape of space and openness. You're dealing with yourself. This happened to me. Oh, I'm feeling this. I'm feeling that. Da 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 da. So the union that you had previously with the space, awareness being in this space, this openness, is now here. I. I am experiencing this. You feel awkward and unbalanced. The third type is self-observing ignorance, seeing oneself as an external object leads to the notion of other. So if there's I experiencing this, you stepped on my foot, or I feel so bad, da 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 da. Right now we have other. We have the other person, the other situation, the other object that is there. We create a world of forms and react to one's projections rather than just seeing what is, rather than just acknowledging, oh, okay, face, oh, continue on. Now is the I did that so badly. Oh, I feel unbalanced. What are people going to think of me that I made this mistake? Da 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 da. The second skanda or heap is feeling. Now we set up defense mechanisms to protect our ignorance. Feeling reaches out and feels the quality of other. Seductive, I want it. Threatening, move away, protect. Or neutral, I don't care. Third skanda, perception impulse. So now we have perception, the switchboard, receives the information from feeling, and impulse responds. So we make judgments to react for, against, or indifferently. There are three types of impulse: hatred, desire, stupidity. The fourth skanda, the concept. So based on the third skanda of impulse, objects are named and categorized: good, bad, ugly, beautiful. Now you are actually putting concepts on everything. You're naming everything. Everything that is other than the self. Ego now experiences intellectual speculation, confirming, interpreting ourselves. The nature of intellect is quite logical. I is the product of intellect. I this, I that, me, all of those. Then we have the fifth skanda, consciousness. And here's where we have the production of thoughts and emotions. The six realms are produced, and uncontrollable and illogical patterns of discursive thoughts are created. So we're going to talk a little bit about the six realms, or sometimes called the six types of world. These six realms are space, different versions of space. It's like you have the space that we're all experiencing, this space out here, this space that you are in. And now we're going to put like a little color on top of it, a particular point of view. We're going to take that space and approach it from a particular reference point. The first reference point we'll talk about is the God realm. These are psychological aspects. So the acquisition of wealth, power, or fame, everything happens easily, naturally, automatically. This is a dreamlike quality, seemingly transcending pain and pleasure, a self-hypnotic natural state of concentration which blocks out of our mind everything we may find irritating or undesirable. So here you're planning on going on vacation. You have all of these brochures, and your mind is going, oh, I can just see myself lying on that beach and the water, the ocean, and the sun, and a nice drink on my right hand to cool me down, and so forth. So you are in God realm, or you're so happy. Something has just happened to you, something that you wanted for a long time, and you are beside yourself. Nothing can interfere with that. You are in the God realm, so happy. And then beyond that, one step more than that, is the Devaloka realm, the realm of the formless gods. So here, one discovers that one can go beyond the sensual pleasures and the beauty of the God realm and enter into the dhyana, or the concentration states. We dwell on the idea of limitless space, limitless consciousness from our central headquarters, ego. So you're in a meditation session or you're at home or whatever, and you are in bliss. Oh, I'm really have it now. I am really meditating. My consciousness is in the realms. I am just totally in the realm of bliss. I am totally in the realm of bliss. I am experiencing this. When you reach the enlightenment or the true jnana states, there is no I. There's just experience. There's not identifying it as you are da 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 da. The experience is totally without any kind of an I. So the next realm, jealous God realm, highly energetic. Don't want to give away anything, but you just want to take. Unless you give, you won't get anything. And the more you get, the more you want to receive. The height of poverty. You are preoccupied with achievement and competition, trying to be better than anyone else. We are obsessed with measuring our progress and comparing ourselves to others, always being the best. The desire realm. Now, while we're talking about all of these, I hope you are looking into your own experiences, because we experience all of these realms. But when we get to the five Buddha wisdoms, families, our mind probably spends most of its time in one particular realm. But we know about all of these realms. So please note any questions that you would have, and we'll take them at some point, probably in part 2. You should be able to find something in your experiences that you've had where you can identify exactly with what I'm describing here. So the desire realm, passion and intellect, we distinguish between pleasurable and painful experiences in an effort to maximize pleasure and minimize pain. We become more discriminating, consider alternatives, think more, and therefore produce more hope and fear. We are thinking in terms of grasping and taking possession. We take advantage of the situation and the intimacy of possessing the tenderness to use it, chew it. We apply intellectual or emotional frustrations as a way of getting or possessing pleasurable things. I have to have that. I can't be happy unless I have that particular thing. I must have it. We are not just grasping, but exploring, feeling the texture, comparing. Pain is the constant companion of our pleasure. And why would you suppose that pain would be the constant companion of your pleasure, right? The pain of not having it, the pain of having it and being afraid that you won't have it that it will break or it will go away or that you will lose it. So there's always that wanting, grasping quality, desire. Never, oh, if I just had that bookcase, I would be happy forever. Get the bookcase. If I just had that to put onto the bookcase. So it's just endless. It's just endless. Animal realm, stupidity. We are acting on the impulse, instinctive level, rather than by applying intellectual or emotional frustrations as a way of getting or possessing something. We rely on the same set of habitual responses. There is a refusal to explore new territory, and we cling to familiar goals and irritations. The example that is given for this is the pig. Whatever you put in front of the pig, it's going to eat. It just doesn't look to the left or the right. It's just going to do that. You go to the horse races, you notice that some horses have blinders on either side. That's so that they don't get distracted. They're just going to focus, just winning. No left or right vision to deter them in any way or to influence them in any way. There is an absence of humor or irony. Anything unpredictable threatens the basic pattern. They aren't interested in looking to other things. They're not interested in being open and trying others. This is the way you do it. This is the only things that I know, and this is where I am, and nothing's going to change that. Hungry ghost realm, Preta Loka realm. There is a feeling of impoverishment and hunger, intense greed. It is not the pain of not finding what you want. Rather, it is the insatiable hunger itself. Has to do with being hungry rather than satisfying your hungry. You're standing in front of the refrigerator. This is the third time you tried opening the refrigerator to find something to satisfy the hunger you have, and you look again and you can't find it. There's all kinds of food in there, and you're hungry, but there's nothing there that's going to satisfy it. So it's the insatiable hunger rather than the actual hungry part that you're looking at. And then the hell realm, we experience an extremely all pervasive, powerful state of aggression or hatred. There is intense claustrophobia, heat coming from all directions. These are the hot and cold hells. The cold hells come about when you are so angry, you are frozen. You cannot move or speak. And when someone is in that state, even with the hot hells, there's no space in your mind. You don't try to talk to someone who is in that state of fury because nothing is getting in. There's no space in there to take anything in, to consider anything else other than the actual experience of anger. So now we'll talk about the 5 Buddha wisdoms of creative expression. So each of these 5 has a positive and a negative. When we eliminate the negative, then pretty much we are enlightened. That's it. So what happens is that when we are in that space where we were dancing and all of a sudden we stumbled and what happens there is that you separate from the openness of where you are. You separate from the openness of the space that you are in, and you go into your own realm. And each of these 5 families has a realm that is their negative aspect. And so I put the negative aspect here. For instance, the realm, the Vajra realm of sharp intellect, their psychological area now is the hell realm when things don't go right. The sharp edges of intellect represent cutting through all neurotic emotional tendencies. They also represent the sharp quality of being aware of many possible perspectives. It is the notion of correcting any neurotic distortion in a precise, sharp, and penetrating way. Intellectually, it is very sharp. People of this style know how to evaluate logically the arguments used to explain experience. They can tell whether the logic is true or false. This style also has a sense of constant openness and perspective. These are your mathematicians, your scientists, your really intellectual, computer like people, and so forth. The neurotic expression is associated with anger and intellectual fixation. If we become fixated on a particular logic, the sharpness of this style can become rigid. We become possessive of our insight rather than having a sense of open perspective. The anger could be pure aggression or also a sense of uptightness because we are so attached to our sharpness of mind. When I had my school, I trained my teachers to recognize these 5 styles of energy in our students so that they would have more knowledge to be able to work with them. So what will happen with the student who is of this particular Vajra family or sharp intellect is that you cannot present information to them. They want to know everything. They want to know every aspect. They're not satisfied with, oh, yes, I got it. I got the idea now. Okay. No, no. They want to know everything. So that is so that, again, coming out from that center space where we came out and now we are the Vajra family, by knowing everything, you cannot be overcome because you know what to expect. So when something happens that they did not expect, they are unbalanced. And they become, as it says here, rigid, very attached. How could they know? I've studied this. I know all about this. Don't you want to take my word for it? I mean, I know this, right? So there's a defensive quality that comes up if they're challenged or if their knowledge is challenged, unless, of course, there's a sense of openness to something else coming in, which would be your enlightened aspect. So the element is water. Each of these has a landscape, an element, a color, a symbol, and so forth. Here it's water. Water, when it goes over a rock, goes over the whole rock. It covers everything. And that's how the mind is here. The mind wants to cover everything, know everything, so as not to be unbalanced or taken by surprise. Cloudy, turbulent water symbolize the defensive and aggressive nature of anger, while clear water suggests the sharp, precise, clear reflectiveness of wisdom that evokes the image of a calm pond or reflecting pool. The symbol is the scepter, which has 5 prongs. They represent the 5 emotions: aggression, jealousy, pride, passion, and ignorance. The wisdom associated with this style is mirror-like wisdom. The season is winter, crisp, sharp, biting, and the direction is east. The time of day is early morning, and the color is blue, sometimes white. Expansiveness, enrichment, the Ratna family, the hungry ghost realm, goes with this particular family. In the positive expression, the principle of richness is extraordinary. It is constantly expanding and extending. We feel rich and plentiful, and we extend to our world personally, directly, emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually. In the neurotic sense, this rich, plentiful style manifests as being completely fat or extraordinarily ostentatious beyond the limits of our sanity. We expand constantly, heedlessly, and indulge ourselves to the level of insanity. The neurosis for this style is pride, or the other side of that, which is a feeling of impoverishment, a poverty mentality. 3 attitudes of neurotic mind. We feel we are better than others. We feel superior to others because we fail to see the equality of self and others. And we feel we are spiritually or materially better than others. If we feel superior to others, it is impossible to learn from them. These are the people you want to plan your party, the food for your party, because you will never run out. You will have more than you could possibly want. If they go to the grocery store and they need one loaf of bread, really, they'll come home with three. So there's richness, abundance coming forth from every aspect that they have. Purified mind does not distinguish between pure and impure, good and bad, I and others. It experiences all things equally. That's perhaps a confusing statement to make. Purified mind does not distinguish between pure and impure, good and bad, I and others. You might say, oh, I don't know. I see pure and impure. I can tell. What's referring to here is that the confidence that you have in yourself and the wisdom from which you come from does not distinguish in the enlightened sense. If someone is drowning, you don't say, oh, is this a good person? Are they worth saving? You just jump in and save because that is the thing to do. So, and it's the same thing. Whenever you have, it's not to say that you suspend your intelligence. If you know that someone has a habit of lying, then you hear what they have to say, but you also know from the experience of that it may or may not be so. And so your actions will be based, your wisdom will be based on maybe checking things out here just to confirm because you know something. But if someone is in trouble, you don't hesitate to say, oh, well, I don't really like that person very much, so I'm not going to bother to help them. If someone needs your help, you will help because that's what you do. Expansiveness, enrichment, the wisdom of equanimity is attributed to this style because it can include everything in its expansive environment. Sometimes including everything is not so good, and there's repercussions to that as well. So the wisdom doesn't leave that you can accommodate and so forth. But if you accommodate so much that your wisdom is now, oh, well, I knew that, I just didn't think about that, or whatever. So accommodation, too much accommodation, is not necessarily a positive thing. The element for this style is earth. It is sometimes compared to a rotting log that makes itself at home in the country, grows all kinds of mushrooms and plants, and allows all kinds of animals to nest in it. It is inviting and restful. The color is yellow and the direction south. Its season is autumn harvest time. The time is midday, and the symbol is a jewel. Magnetizing, Padma, human desire realm. The genuine character of this style is real openness, a willing to demonstrate what we have and what we are to the world. We bring a sense of pleasure, a sense of promise. We constantly experience a sense of magnetization and spontaneous hospitality. The quality is like bathing in perfume. We feel refreshed, fantastic. It feels good to be magnetized. We live in a fantastic world of sweet air, delicious food. Even our bread is scented with all kinds of delicious smells. Sweet music is playing in the background. Even though we are not poets, we compose all kinds of poetry. It is not the heavy experience of the expansive, enriching style, but has a more delicate sense. The neurotic aspect is associated with passion, a grasping quality, and a desire to possess. We are constantly wrapped up in desire and want only to seduce the world without concern for real communication. We are continuously engaged in achieving and acquiring mind's desires. We are like a peacock. A person with this neurosis speaks gently and is seemingly very sexy, kind, magnificent, and completely accommodating. Come towards me. The seduction can be excessive or compassionate, depending on how we work with it. The element is fire. In the confused state, fire burns indiscriminately, but in an awakened state, it becomes the warmth of compassion. It is precise and aware and turns into tremendous interest and inquisitiveness. Everything is seen in its own distinct way, with its own particular qualities and characteristics. It is the creative expression of discriminating awareness, wisdom, and its color is red. It is associated with late day. Its season is spring, and its direction is west. The landscape is flower-filled hills and meadows in bloom, and the symbol is a flower. Comparison back in my day would be Marilyn Monroe, where you see something so beautiful, you are just naturally attracted. So, but desire and possessing, you want, you're always wanting, always wanting. And so instead of being discriminating about what you're attracting towards you, you're just out there attracting everything. Your discrimination is faulty. But in the enlightened sense here, it's very discriminating as to what you are attracting and why you are attracting. Action, karma realm, jealous God realm. The creative expression of this style is all accomplishing action. This style is characterized by the energy of efficiency. We want everything to be efficient, clean, and pure. If we do achieve cleanliness, then there is the problem that there is nothing further to work on. If we meet a person who is not efficient and does not have their life together, we consider them a terrible person. We would like to get rid of them, even if they happen to be a famous scientist or musician. On the other hand, if we meet someone who has immaculate efficiency, we begin to feel they are a good person to be with. However, if they turn out to be more efficient than ourselves, we become envious and jealous. The neurotic quality of action or activity is connected with jealousy, comparison, and envy. Jealousy of wealth, success, and good fortune. If we have this style, we are highly irritated if we see a hair on our cup. At first, we think the cup is broken, and as we look closer, we realize that it is a hair. There is some relief, and then we become angry again that it is a hair. The element is wind. The wind does not blow in all directions, but it blows in one direction at a time. This is the one-way view of resentment and envy, which picks on one little fault or virtue and blows it out of proportion. With the wisdom aspect of this style, the quality of resentment falls away, and the qualities of energy, fulfillment of action, and openness remain. The direction is north, and the season is summer when there is the activity of growth. The color is green, time of day after sunset, dusk, and the symbol is of a sword. Another way that is identifiable by these is if you go into someone's home and you see everything completely everywhere, right? This project, before this project is done, they're starting on the next project, and then the next project, and then the next project. They don't all have to be done, but there's wind energy, there's movement, there's things happening. Lots of activity, lots of activity. Spaciousness, the Buddha realm. Animal realm is the perceptions of that come through in this particular realm. The creative expression of this style is associated with space. It has a sedate, solid quality. Persons of this style have a strong sense of contemplative experience. As a result, the neurotic quality can appear to be spaced out rather than spacious. It is often associated with an unwillingness to express oneself. We might observe our neighbors destroying our fence. We can see and hear them. In fact, we have been watching them all day. But instead of reacting, we just observe them and return to our snug little home. We eat our breakfast, lunch, and dinner and ignore them. We are paralyzed, unable to talk to outsiders. Another quality is that we couldn't be bothered. Our dirty clothes pile up in a corner, and sometimes we use our dirty laundry to wipe up spills on our floor. And then we put it back in the same pile. As time goes on, our dirty socks become unbearable, but we just sit there. We are embarking on a career. It might be suggested that we do a project. We will choose to develop the area that needs the least effort. We do not want to deal directly with the details of handling reality. Entertaining friends is also a hassle. We prefer to take them out to a restaurant rather than cook in our home. And if we want to have a love affair, instead of seducing a partner, talking to them, and making friends, we just look for someone who's already keen on us. We cannot be bothered talking someone into something. Sometimes we feel good because we think we are the most stable person in the world, the best person of all, and sometimes the loneliest. We do not particularly like to dance, and when asked, we feel embarrassed and uncomfortable. We want to stay in our own little corner. When you go to a party and there's someone there doesn't enter, nothing, just sitting there, just doing nothing at all. Many times that's the Buddha family that they belong to as an exit. When ignorance is overcome, we can realize all the other families. When the ground consciousness is purified and we no longer react to habitual patterns, the wisdom of Dharmata shines forth. The 5 negative motions are purified. When the ignoring quality is transmuted into wisdom, it becomes an environment of all-pervasive spaciousness, the wisdom of all-encompassing space. It may have a feeling of a somewhat desolate and empty quality, but it is a quality of completely open potential that can accommodate anything. It is spacious and vast like the sky. Traditionally, this style is in the middle and provides the ground or foundation for the other 4. The color is white or blue, and the symbol is of a wheel. Individual styles of energy are detached from the main ground. What that is referring to, we had the ground of open space. Remember, we were dancing in space. And then, however you reacted coming out of that space with the development of I, separates from the main ground. Now, the Buddha family is the closest to that ground because it's at the center of the mandala. Different types of mentality differentiate themselves from the main ground. In other words, as each one is coming up, separating from the main ground, it takes one of these 5 perspectives: Ratna, Vajra, Padma, Karma, and so on. So the example, for instance, red magnetizing, Padma. Let's say that's, you come out of that space and you're a Padma. You're in the desire realm. You manifest as the Padma family, the magnetizing family. But you have a tinge of blue. That blue is on the outside. So when people meet you, what they experience is that outside. Before they can get to the inside, they experience the outside. So that tinge of blue develops in terms of aggression. So the inside is Padma, magnetizing. That's the heart. But then when it comes out in the form of aggression. So just to kind of bring things together, we've talked about a lot of different things today. We talked about the ground, which are the five skandhas, the five heaps: form, feeling, perception, impulse, concept, and consciousness, the development of ego. The eight consciousnesses are the first five are hearing, seeing, smelling, touching, and feeling and tasting. Then the sixth consciousness is mind. Mind is the switchboard so that you can you can see your food and so forth. And it coordinates all of those five sense consciousnesses so that they all can happen at the same time. That's what mind does. It coordinates the input that is coming in so that it's all happening simultaneously. And then the seventh is the cloudy mind. And this is where ego kind of inhabits. And in the enlightened space, this disappears. Cloudy mind disappears. And you have the eighth one is the Alaya Vijnana, which is your storehouse of knowledge. Every experience that you have had, any is housed there, is housed in your Alaya Vijnana, that warehouse. So when you see a dog, if you have positive experiences with dogs, oh, hi, come here, come. Or if the dog has bitten you in the past, there's, oh, okay. So that if you see red, oh, I have a color, a dress that's just that same color, or a flower in my garden, it's the same color as that. So that storehouse is where do all of your thoughts and perceptions begin to come from, because it's the connecting. That's why your mind goes, oh, well, we're going to go out for dinner tonight. And gee, what am I going to wear? I think I'll wear, oh, yes, I'll wear that, and so forth. And then, well, gee, I wore that when we went to that other party. Do you remember when we went to that party? Da 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 da, and so forth. And you're bouncing all over. Monkey mind. Monkey mind is what uh, Kempo Taekyon, who will be here in September, will refer to. Monkey mind, where you're just jumping all over the place. One thought, you see something, and you're zipping around all over. The five Buddha wisdom families we just talked about: Vajra, Ratna, Karma, Padma, and Buddha. The six realms, we talked about those at the beginning, predominantly emotional states, and one's psychology is firmly rooted in one realm. Although we have experiences that we can recognize in each one of those realms, predominantly psychologically, you are coming from there. Is she getting more than I'm getting? That piece is bigger than my piece. And your whole view of your life, you're coming from that perspective. Competition, envy, and so forth, if you're in that realm, if you're part of that family. Emotions are energy, sensations, the highlights of mental states. So emotions are energy. And that's in part two. When we meet again, we will go through and should be shown how we can experience these, because you don't just cut them out, because that becomes like a volcano waiting to erupt. But how do you work with your emotions? How do you work with the highlights of those emotional states so that you're constantly not going into the negative aspects or the habitual patterns that we have created to do harm to us and others? Kleshas, habitual patterns, basically the three poisons: passion, aggression, ignorance, pride, and paranoia. So, through the experiential exploration of the emotional energy of the five Buddha families, experiential exploration, you have to find it, you have to feel it, you have to see it. It's not something that you can memorize, conceptualize. It doesn't work that way. You have to be with it. You have to recognize it, be with it, and work with it. And that's what we'll be doing the next week. We can release constricted, self-centered emotional patterns and habits that no longer serve us. So I just want to say that it's not just sitting on a cushion doing meditation or sitting on your chair or wherever you do your meditation. It also has to do with when you get up in your life situation, in your daily life situations, how you work with the energy in the space that you are in, how to work with that so that you can have freedom from the habitual tendencies that we have that do us harm. So that's all that I want to say for today. And then hopefully I'll meet with you all for part two, and we can go more into how to practice with that energy. Thank you very much.